The ANC confirms its commitment to combating corruption and reports rebel fighters are at the gates of Gaddafi's compound. Good afternoon. The ANC leadership believes that corruption needs to be given a special attention as it seems to be a serious problem. This has emerged after the National Executive Committee's 4-day meeting at Centurion, which ended yesterday. ANC Secretary-General Gwede Mantashe, who's been briefing the media, says the NEC has decided that the party's policies must be adhered to.
On corruption, the meeting reaffirmed the ANC stance and commitment against the use of corruption in all its manifestations, particularly as they relate to our government spheres and in the private sector. In this regard, the ANC calls on all ANC structures and society to identify, root out all forms of corruption that are plaguing our society. We are also calling upon societal organs to work with our law enforcement structures in rooting out corruption.
A patient has jumped to her death from the 9th floor of the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital in Johannesburg. The cause of the incident is still being investigated. Gauteng Health spokesperson Simon Zwane.
There is a police investigation now currently underway on the circumstances surrounding the incident, and the hospital is also investigating. But the MEC has expressed her condolences and sympathies to the family. It would seem that the patient jumped from the toilet on the 90th floor of the hospital, but all of these matters will now be investigated.
A 49-year-old surfer has died after being attacked by a shark in Plettenberg Bay in the Southern Cape. The National Sea Rescue Institute says a group of surfers was in the water at the Keerboom's river mouth when the man was bitten by the shark. NSRI spokesperson Craig Lambinen.
Doctors fought for hours continuing to resuscitate the 49-year-old man. After all efforts to resuscitate him were exhausted, he has now been declared dead.
SAMU in Port Elizabeth has refuted claims by the Nelson Mandela Metro that 90% of municipal workers are back at work. This follows earlier reports that the strike by the South African Municipal Workers Union is losing momentum, with less members joining the industrial action. Regional Secretaries Pure Ndunyana says most striking workers chose to stay at home as they cannot afford to travel to the picketing points.
Most of the municipal workers, when they come to work, they are using the municipal transport. So in these cases, now most of them, they don't really have the bus fares to come to all these ticketing places. So they tend to stay at home. But the propaganda that the employer is saying 90% people have come back to work is absolutely a lie.
And finally, news channel Al Jazeera says Libyan rebels battling forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi are nearing the gates of his heavily fortified Bab al-Azizia compound in the center of Tripoli. Al Jazeera reports that explosions have been heard near the compound and that smoke is rising over the city. Gaddafi's side and the rebels are still providing conflicting reports on the real situation in Tripoli. Media Review Network spokesperson Dr. Firoz Osman says various groups fighting for power see the media as being at the center of the struggle.
The main rebel group is based in Benghazi. We have a long-standing opposition figures representing a wide range of political views, including nationalists and Islamists, secularists and socialists, all vying for the media and exposure. This is the form of war.
Recapping the top story, the ANC leadership believes that corruption needs to be given a special attention as it seems to be a serious problem. This has emerged after the National Executive Committee's 4-day meeting at Centurion, which ended yesterday.